Okay, hi everyone. I don't know what to say. The intro is always so awkward. How do I start this? I'm just like here to share my experience, tell a story, hopefully help someone, be entertaining. We're gonna have like a stream of consciousness here. I'm a little congested, I'm getting over a cold, so don't mind that. I might be coughing a bit. So I'm currently living in Paris, and I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to live in Europe and study here. And I knew that all throughout college. And so my senior year of college, I'm a musician, in case you don't know. I traveled to Europe to take some auditions so that I could study here. Ironically, I'm not here because I took those auditions, but that's another story. So yeah, in the middle of my senior year, I left for a month. You're probably like, how did you do that? Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about everything, okay? And how you can also do this if you want, if you need to, if it's your desire. First of all, I need to say, yes, it is such a privilege that I was able to do this, that I had the financial means to do this, that I had the time and the people in my life who were willing to be on my side. Because I know that this is not going to be everyone's experience, and I recognize how much of a privilege it was that I got to do this. But that being said, I hope that everyone gets the chance to do this. So that's why I'm here. So, in order to go on this trip, I had a student budget in mind. I was not on vacation. I was not a tourist. I was a tourist. I did touristy things, but I did things that would allow me to save money, you know? So the first thing was I got a travel credit card. So this is my first like real credit card. I had one before, but this is like an adult credit card, you know? It's the Capital One Venture card. Not sponsored, I should say. This is not sponsored at all. It comes with a sign-up bonus of 80,000 points or 80,000 miles or something. And so if you don't know how that works exactly, 1 mile is worth like 0.01 cents. You get 1 point, 1 mile for every dollar that you spend with that credit card. It comes with an 80,000 point sign-up bonus. That's equivalent to $800 that you can use towards travel purchases. However, with this credit card, you have to spend $4,000 within 3 months using the credit card, which is a lot of money. And you might be like, how on earth did you do that as a student? So it's like the beginning of the school year. I'm looking ahead. I'm looking at all the rent that I need to pay for the entire year. You know, $4,000 is just my rent. You know, I'm gonna be spending that money anyway. I might as well use my credit card and get these bonus miles. So that's what I did. I used my credit card to pay rent, and I got the bonus miles, and they covered my flights completely, plus more, because I found really cheap flights. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. This credit card is great for students, I think. If you're already going to be spending that $4,000 on rent or something, you might as well get money back, and then you can use that towards travel purchases, which, by the way, can range from what travel purchases are. It can even be buying a sandwich at the airport or a train station. A lot of things count as travel purchases, but it's not necessarily just a bus ticket or a plane ticket. Also, like how I said, $1 is equivalent to 0.01 points. If you're buying groceries, gas, necessities like that, there's multiples. So like, I think groceries, you get 5 times the amount of points for every dollar. So you're like, as you use a credit card even more, you're still getting points. So you can use that for travel purchases as well. But if you are interested, there's a link in the description you can use to sign up for this credit card. I do highly recommend, but not sponsored, I swear. So that's the first way I saved money. I'm gonna come back to the money question, but there's obviously the question of how on earth did I find the time within my schedule as a senior year college student to travel to Europe. I would just say communication is key. Like, I knew about this trip way in advance. I notified all my teachers in like October, November, that I would be gone in February and March. I told them so far in advance. Some of these teachers' classes I hadn't even signed up for yet, you know, like they hadn't started. The spring semester starts in January. I was telling these teachers in October, November, that I was gonna be missing their class. So when you tell people in advance, they're way more likely to be very lenient with you. I understand that some teachers might not be that way. As an artist, as a musician, I think teachers tend to understand that you're involved in projects and they want you to be doing these things. They want you to be involved and, getting yourself into the professional world, doing things to further your career. So I think in general, teachers will be supportive if you tell them within enough advance. So there's that. So now let me just tell you the story because it's a great story. I love telling the story. It's so fun. This is mostly going to be about finances, how I saved money. So, end of February, I flew from the Pittsburgh airport to the Washington, D.C. airport, to the Lisbon, Portugal airport, to Madrid, where I was staying with my best friend who was living there studying. So this flight was a nightmare, to be honest. 3 separate flights. It was just a very long travel day, but this flight was so cheap. I think it was only $300 something. It was one way, but that's super cheap. I really recommend going for budget over comfort because it's just one night of your life. If you're kind of miserable, you'll get another night to catch up on sleep. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna save money, and that's really what matters. You're not gonna remember this one plane ride. I really recommend saving money over comfort. Anyway, my best friend was living in Madrid at the time, and so I stayed with him between auditions. That was kind of my base, and then I hopped to the other auditions that I was taking, more or less. We'll get into that. And this absolutely saved my life. I don't know that I would have been able to take these auditions if I didn't have a friend that I was able to stay with. I would say it's definitely the way to do it, but don't use your friends, You want to make sure that they are feeling valued. You're offering them something as well. Don't just show up at their place, sleep on their couch, and steal all their food. They are doing you a huge service. It's very important to balance out the equation there, But it is true that staying with my best friend really, really helped me. And also just emotionally, it helped me. He also traveled with me around to all my different auditions because neither of us had been to any of those places before and we really wanted to travel together. So I stayed in Madrid for a couple days to get over jet lag, and then we were off to Paris for my first audition. So to get this flight, I think I used eDreams. I was using eDreams a lot for these flights, which is a European company, and you do have to buy a subscription to this company in order to get the flights, but they have a 7-day free trial. And so when I had this trial, that's when I bought all my plane tickets. Because on this website, you will find flights for so much cheaper. Even on all the cheap sites like Skyscanner, Fairdrop. This one is even cheaper than those. The catch is that you have to pay for the subscription, but not if you get the 7-day free trial, which I did. Know when to buy flights. So flights are cheapest if you're flying on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And to buy them, it's cheapest to buy them before noon on a Saturday and Sunday. This is facts from a flight attendant. So I went to Paris. Paris was definitely the most expensive stop on my trip. We stayed in an Airbnb in the banlieue, which is the area outside the perimeter of the city. This kind of was a damper on my Paris experience because that was a side of Paris that, they don't show the tourists, It wasn't dangerous or anything. It just was not the most beautiful or aesthetically pleasing. You don't have the I'm in Paris feeling when you walk outside. It's fine because I was saving money, but I will say this was my first time in Paris and I didn't like the city. I didn't have that, that spark, that love of the city that first time because, well, 1, I was so stressed about the audition that I was taking, and 2, I wasn't letting myself be a tourist. I was trying to save money. So there is that side of this. There's that cost, that other side of the coin, that the experience might not be as amazing. But even with that, I still think Paris was super expensive because the metro tickets are so expensive. I didn't know about the Navigo Pass. These are the metro tickets. These are so easy to lose and they're expensive. And then food in Paris was really a lot more expensive than I thought. And I wasn't doing groceries yet. So I think I was going out to eat a lot when I was there, but I was only there for 3 or 4 days, I think. I would say this was the most expensive city that I went to. So then I went back to Madrid after Paris. I stayed there for another week and we were doing groceries that whole time together and cooked. And I saved so much money doing this. You have to do this because groceries are way cheaper than going out to eat. If you're not, you're wasting so much money. And like I said, with my credit card, I was getting like 5 times back the points, which I could use on my flights and stuff. So yeah, I spent a while in Madrid. It was really, really special to me to get to be in Madrid with my best friend. Yeah, every once in a while, of course it's okay to go out and eat, and you know, you want to experience the culture of the city. Let yourself have fun, even though you're on a student budget. I did. Spain and Morocco are really close, and so Spain had a lot of Moroccan food, and I wanted to try it, and so I did. You know, don't hinder yourself from taking opportunities, but just be smart how you use your finances. From Madrid, I went to Vienna, Austria. I think I stayed in Vienna 3 days. We got a really cheap Airbnb. It was super cute. Like I said, my friend was traveling with me, which also we split the cost of of living expenses. And again, I was not using my friend. He wanted to travel with me. It was very great to have someone with me to split the cost, but you know, I wasn't framing it that way. I saved a lot of money because we didn't go out to eat a lot. We did groceries the whole time. From there, I had one more audition in Lyon, France. I wanted to do a bit of traveling, okay? And so I purposely booked a flight that had a 6-hour layover in Venice, Italy. Because this layover was included in the flight, I basically got to go to Venice for free. You know, 2 cities in one. I did have to pay for the bus to go from the airport into Venice City, but I don't remember it being that expensive. I don't remember. And I probably covered it with my travel points anyways. So because it was only a 6-hour layover, we had probably 3 hours in the city to like run around and see everything. This was like actually really fun. Like it was like a challenge. And we saved a lot of money doing that anyway, because if we were sitting in an airport, we'd have to spend money on airport food. But, you know, it was probably cheaper to get food somewhere outside of the airport, which we did. So I think we actually saved some money that way. I didn't buy any souvenirs either this whole trip, which is not to say that you shouldn't. Sometimes I would have the urge to be like, yeah, I really want that fridge magnet, or like little things that you don't really need but that you want. And in Venice, I remember also being really tempted because they had these hats that I really wanted, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it, guys. I saved the money and I didn't buy the hat. I don't wear hats, so it would have been a waste for me. But if you want the hat, get the hat. So yeah, from there, we flew from Venice to Lyon, France. And I think we stayed like 3 days in Lyon. Oh, in Lyon, I think I stayed in another Airbnb. Hostels are usually cheaper than Airbnbs, but I think because I was splitting it with my friend, and we found some really cheap Airbnbs. We actually didn't want to stay in hostels, and we found them cheaper in Lyon. Once again, we were doing groceries. I think we only went out a couple, like 1 or 2 times for food. We wanted to try like an authentic French restaurant. We did that in Paris as well. In Paris, I tried like escargot, which is not as bad as you would think. And in Lyon, I tried like a charcuterie board. We rented bikes at one point. We biked all through the city. That was terrifying. And the bikes they have the motorized bikes. So like, yeah, give yourself experiences that are worth it for you. But all I want to say is like, save the money for the experiences that are worth it. Things that you're going to remember. I'm remembering that bike trip, and I did one in Madrid and in Lyon. We biked through the city on those motorized bikes. I remember those so well because it's such a great way to see the city. So then the other thing that I need to say is I flew back to the States from Lyon. I wasn't flying back from Madrid, so I had to buy my return to Europe and back from Europe separately. I actually saved money doing this. I think sometimes when you buy your round trip tickets together, it is cheaper to do it that way if you're flying into the same city. Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, I'm in my travel hacker era. But anyways, that's my story. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was so fun, and I was actually able to enjoy Europe on a budget. I hope you can too. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.